sitting in their order of speaking. We're going to draw to the side of the order of speaking. I want to welcome you all here, and thank you for coming. This evening is sponsored by the local media, news media, Revelstoke Review, Revelstoke Current, The Mountaineer, Easy Rock, Rev Ed, and Stoke FM. Thank you for that. I just want to introduce the candidates in alphabetical order. Representing the Green Party, Samson Boyer. And the Liberal Party, Doug Klobuchar. Independent candidate, Justin Houle. Independent candidate, Duncan MacLeod. And New Democratic candidate, Jerry Tapp. The order of business will be that each of the candidates will have 3 minutes for their introductory remarks. After that, there'll be a number of questions addressed to all the candidates, and they'll each have 2 minutes to answer the questions. There'll be 1 minute for rebuttals at the end, and 2 minutes for each candidate to wrap up at the end of the rebuttals. And the reverse order will take place for the wrap-ups, reverse to what the opening order. We have a timekeeper, Sean, at the back there with his red, yellow, and green lights. And the yellow light will come on when the candidates have 30 seconds left to do whatever section of the program they're addressing. And the cutoff time will be exactly when it's supposed to be. That's all. And I just want to remind candidates that the forum is an opportunity for them to present themselves and their respective parties' positions. And I'm sure we'll have a nice, cordial evening going on here. Then, without further ado, we will go into the candidates' opening remarks, and number 1 will be Duncan MacLeod. You want to come? Can we get this the mic? Just mic right there. And you can stand if you wish, or you can sit, whichever you prefer. Yes, you'll need to use the mic.
Yeah, you'll need to use the mic.
For sure, you'll need to use the mic. And you can see. Can you see the light? Okay, back there where Sean is.
Yes, I can.
Okay.
I'm green.
Okay.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Hello.
Turn it on, please. Turn it on. Can you hear me now? Okay. Hello? I have to hold it right up. Keep it right close. Okay. My name is Duncan MacLeod. I'm from Kimberley. In terms of a little bit of background about how I came to be sitting at this table tonight, I was born and raised there. Graduated from Selkirk Secondary School. Following that, I went to university in Calgary, and I went there with the intention of doing this. And then I didn't do it for 25 years. I studied history and political science. I learned a lot, but what I learned ultimately was dissuading and disengaging. I was a youth delegate to the Liberal Leadership Convention in 1990 that ultimately selected Jean Chrétien. And that experience, not exclusively, but in no small part, was the impetus for me to walk away from this. And this was, something I thought I wanted to do with my life. And I was so disappointed in what I discovered about partisan politics and what I discovered about our governmental institutions and how they worked, that I haven't been involved since. In fact, I've never even been to one of these. I have no idea what's going to happen here tonight other than what they've told me about since I arrived. I'm really looking forward to engaging the process of communicating my message and also of interacting with and even supporting the other candidates, because I do have tremendous respect for anyone and everyone who does this. This is not easy. But at the same time, I really do feel that the way we do it is counterproductive. So the overarching theme of my campaign is going to be
democracy reform, not just campaign finance reform, which I know is on vogue in our province right now, as it should be, but electoral reform and actual institutional reform. My feeling is, and again, the overarching motivation behind me sitting here is that the entire system is broken and it needs to be fixed as soon as possible. In terms of my motivation for that, I am married to my wonderful wife, Crystal, who's videoing me with the pink phone. I have 5 kids. I live in Kimberley now after spending most of the 90s and early 2000s living in a variety of places. And I think that experience of being from here and connected to here in combination with having left here. I've lived and worked in Japan, in South America. I've lived in and worked in multiple provinces in addition to BC, Alberta, and Ontario. That will give me, I think, a unique insight into some of the comparative contexts that are going to be very revealing in this campaign. I've experienced multiple healthcare systems, multiple education systems. I've seen different ways of doing things that we do well, but we can do better. I'm looking forward to an energetic campaign. I'm a late comer to this one, and I appreciate you all coming out tonight to hear what everybody has to say.
Good evening.
Go ahead, Jerry.
Am I jumping the gun here? Am I eager? All right, good evening. My name is Jerry Taft. I'm currently the mayor in Invermere, and I've been serving on Invermere Council since 2002. When I was elected to council, I was 20 years old. This means several things. First of all, the folks in Invermere were brave enough to elect me when I was 20. And secondly, it means I've actually been doing it for a while. It's been 15 years that I've been serving in local government. Throughout that time, I've also run a number of small businesses. I just recently sold my main small business, which is Jerry's Gelati in Invermere, so I could focus more time and attention to politics. So throughout that time, what I've discovered is, and I know this because I'm born and raised in the Kootenays, is that we live in an incredible place. We live in a place that has so much opportunity, has so many things going for it. And we all find ways to carve out and make a living and make this our home. But what I've also discovered in 15 years of local government is that there are challenges. There are real issues right now. Far too often we're concerned with our services being cut or being centralized. We're concerned with losing the fabric of our community. And when local communities come together and come up with innovative ideas and come up with solutions, we often face a provincial government which simply says no, which doesn't seem interested in working for us and seems more interested in representing the wealthy and the well-connected. Ladies and gentlemen, we only get one voice in Victoria. We need to make sure that that voice is a strong one. We need to make sure that that voice represents our values. Values like respecting local decision-making, not making a fake town in Jumbo and trying to shove a ski resort down our throats that we don't want. Not one that says we have to leave our communities and go work in camps, that's the only option for employment. Not one that says it's acceptable that we have to travel vast distances to get basic health care. Those aren't our values. Our values include things that are important for our future, things like the environment and our children. Those things are not costs, those are things that we need to protect and that we need to invest in. We shouldn't be selling our democracy to the highest bidder and selling it at $10,000 plate dinners. And we shouldn't be accepting that the status quo is all we deserve. I have the experience, I have the passion, and I have the values to be your next MLA. On May 9th, I would like your support. Please vote for Jerry Taft and the BC NDP.
Okay.
All right, so my name is Justin Hools, and I'm running as an independent. I'm currently working as a commercial flat roofer, and that's after going through quite a few different job choices. I spent some time as a behavioral interventionist working with autistic children. I very seriously considered this as a long-term career, but my family's having a lot of trouble back at home, and I chose to kind of sacrifice the line of work that I had and come back home, which brought me to working at Walmart for a short period of time. And, when I was working at Walmart, I started to move up management, thinking that, you know, hey, I could make something out of this. If you get into the big management in Walmart, they pay some big dollars. But I pretty quickly learned that that's not a path that I wanted to be a part of, and just seeing some of the things that they had to do and some of the things that they do to make money, and how the bottom line, of course, at the end of the day is money, and just how far that reached really brought me away from that. So I ended up leaving Walmart rather depressed, and a little let down, thinking that you know, I didn't know what I was going to do. I started working as a commercial flat roofer. It was an honest job. I liked it enough. I mean, I don't particularly like the work. I prefer to work with my brain than with my hands, but it gets me by. It makes me a good living. So I went up from there and started to get involved in politics and started to really follow where it was going. And the last federal election, I chose to get involved with one of the parties and really see where everything went and where it all came from. And as I got more involved with the party, I started to see some things that I liked, but some things that I really didn't like. And when it came to the small communities and realistically anything that's not an issue that affects everybody as a whole, I don't feel that the parties necessarily do a very good job of representing anybody. So that led me to go and start looking at other options. When this election came up, I started to try and make a choice. And I decided basically by New Year's I had to decide if I was going to run in this election or not. And on New Year's Eve, I finally made up my mind and decided that the only real reason I wouldn't do it is because I was nervous and a little scared to do it. And I decided that wasn't a good reason. So I cast that aside and decided to start planning for it. So the more I got into it, the more I thought that I'm probably doing the right thing. You start looking at the BC voting history over the last 4 years, and you see that only 2 votes have been cast outside of party lines over the last 4 years, and all of them were, well, both of them were from the Liberals. Not once did the NDP vote against their own party, and I have a very, very hard time believing that the NDP has never disagreed with something that's going on. I want to be an MLA who's going to deliver honest information to people and collect an honest opinion from the community. I have some plans to do this through a couple different methods, an online forum. Doug actually had the original idea, and I'm not afraid to admit I stole it from him, but there's
It's a compliment.
having a advisory council from all the different cities, and I hope to be able to get elected and be able to represent you guys all. Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I would first like to thank you all for coming out. It's great to see so many people interested in hearing about the party candidates as well as the independents. I grew up in Fairmont Hot Springs, just south of Revelstoke. I have lived my full 17 years here. Born in America, but I prefer it out here in all honesty. And when I originally started looking at politics years ago, I'm a fat, young guy, I'll grant you, but I'm truly committed to seeing change. At the moment, people do not feel like that their government is listening to them. We have the highest, too low? There we go, thank you. We have the highest unemployment rate in BC, this region. Well-paying jobs are hard to find, and it's becoming harder and harder for people to buy even a down payment on a house. It takes 16 years, 2 people working hard, day-to-day jobs, just to get a down payment. I believe the Green Party can bring real change. Granted, I'm young, I'm inexperienced. I think I'm certainly the youngest person here, perhaps even in the audience. But I am committed to seeing change. I, along with all the other young people, are the next generation. As we have an aging population, it'll be up to us to take care of. You guys, sorry. It'll be up to you guys. It'll be up to us to ensure that you get proper care. And I believe that youth voice should be heard, especially since I'm only a teen. We need to see change. And if we're going to need change if we want to keep the young people in this region. Thank you.
Well, thank you, everybody, and I'm going to not hide behind this desk. Pleased to be here tonight, and I want to congratulate all my colleagues up here, especially these two young ones. It takes courage to stand in front of people, and they've got a lot of courage. And Samson's my neighbor just down the road, so we're a big fan of Samson and Justin as well. He's doing a great job. For me tonight, it's not my first time being here. I ran in the last election, as many of you know, and came close, but that only counts in grenades and horseshoes. But we learned a lot from that experience, and through this experience, and we've also handed out to you, it's kind of like a job interview here tonight, and I've got a lot of potential employers here, but we handed out a resume to you, and I encourage you to have a look at that, because I've got a lifetime of experience that is very applicable to this particular job. And so I encourage you to look at that. Since the last election, I haven't quit. I've worked really, really hard throughout the entire Columbia River Revelstoke, which is one of the largest geographic regions in politics in British Columbia. So, working here in Revelstoke, I've been in Revelstoke a lot. I've been to 6 hook and bullet, rod and gun club dinners right here in this thing. I've made an effort to know this community. I know what goes on in this community. I know your issues in this community. And I've been able also, over that time period, to help with some of those issues. Issues like the Trans-Canada Highway, working with your mayor. Issues like the helipad. We just were able to secure $50,000 to push that over the top for the folks here in Revelstoke, because it's really, really important. So I've been able to work and get to know you guys. And my wife Susan's here, and when we come to Revelstoke, we love it because we become friends with a lot of people in this community. And even if you don't vote for me, I've met people who I've become very, very close to. They just don't believe in what we believe in, but they're really nice people. So I just want to say that I've had that experience over the last 4 years. We've worked really, really hard to achieve some things. And I'm not elected. I'm not a career politician. I'm not. So we've been able to accomplish a lot of stuff over that time. And I got to also tell you, folks, I'm really proud to stand here tonight as a BC Liberal. And the reason is that we've accomplished something that no other province in Canada has. We are the #1 leading economy in this country. No other province comes close to us. We've had 5 consecutive balanced budgets. Nobody comes close to that. We have maintained our AAA credit rating. That's so important to working with infrastructure and so on and so forth. We are the leading province in this country when it comes to even the services that we provide to people. So I want you to think tonight, and I'm going to ask you to think tonight about what you hear, because as we go through this, it's going to be really important that we talk about all the good things that are going on, and you should be very proud of what's happening in this province. Thank you.
So now we move into the question time, and it's 2 minutes for each question. And we will start off, we'll be rolling through, starting the first speaker will change each time as we move down the table. And the first question is, if selected, and this is to all candidates, if selected, how will you ensure that you maintain a meaningful connection with your voters? How will you maintain a relationship that reflects representation of the issues that your constituents deem to be the most important on a local, regional, and provincial level, and not simply reflect the party line? We start with Doug McLeod.
Yeah, we're not rotating? We're good at rotating. Okay.
I think that this is I guess a juxtaposed question for me, because as an independent, it's fairly easy not to toe the party line. The whole reason I am an independent is I don't want to toe the party line. I have, as I said, as an overarching theme of why I'm running, and throughout the night I will revisit this repeatedly. I have identified in my own life, in my studies, in my experience of living in this great province and in this wonderful country as the ultimate issue we all have to face, and soon, as partisan politics. So in terms of maintaining a connection, this is an amazing, amazing riding. From Revelstoke through Golden to Invermere and Kimberley, I've got the good fortune of having a job that allows me to work in and connect with the people of all 4 communities. And the human resources that are here need to be leveraged. We have absolutely amazing people. People who, like many of us, were born and raised here, and people who have migrated here because of the quality of the communities, the amazing location we live in. Those people need to be heard, and in the type of democratic system that I am proposing, that I'm envisioning for this province and this country, that's what will happen in a consensus model. So when we're talking again about reform, and we're talking about next steps for a province moving into an actual 21st century system of government that's reflective of changes in technology, of a more informed population, as we continue through the night, I'll continue to discuss how that will look and what that will work like under consociational or consensus influenced democratic process.
Yeah, so very good question. One of the things that I bring to the table is some of the good work that Norm MacDonald has done over the last 12 years. And I feel really blessed to have him as a mentor and to be able to connect with him and get advice. And I think that him and his team, including the staff that has worked with him, as well as a lot of volunteers who worked really hard over the last several elections to get him elected, have done a really good job. And I think he's reached out, he's been very accessible to the public. And so that's the foundation or the base of how to connect with people. And I would like to take that good work and go even further. My experience being a local government politician means you're very accessible. You're at the grocery store, post office, anywhere, your place of work. You're constantly asking questions. And that's something I'm comfortable with and look forward to doing in this role. And I do think it's important to travel the entire riding and be seen in all of the communities. And that's something I would look forward to doing. As far as some of the bigger picture aspects, electoral reform, the BC NDP is supportive of going to a referendum on proportional representation and looking at changing the model that's in place right now. And although it's not directly related to the question, I think it's significant. BC NDP is talking about banning big money, getting rid of the corporate and the union donations, full stop. Just take the money out of politics. Let's let the political parties fund themselves through personal donations, and let's make politics more about people. And I think that changes the game significantly, and then people are answering their phone calls from constituents, not from donors.
All right, I'm going to talk a little bit more about something I already started on then. I want to create an online forum, and this is part of modernizing how the constituency office is going to relate to constituents. And I think within that online forum, we need to have infrastructure projects that are ongoing and people who are looking for funding, so that we'll be able to look at them and make sure that they're applying for all grants possible, and that their grants, their applications are being done properly and they're being done well, so that they have the best chance of being successful. Along with that, I would like to see a spot for businesses in there to be able to talk about any struggles that they're having, because our government actually has a lot of programs already existent that can help a lot of our small businesses. and they don't really tend to know about it. And the more that I go around to businesses, the more you see that there's a lot of programs that they are not touching on, and they haven't been educated properly on. And I would also like to have it so that there's an area to debate anything that's currently going through the Legislative Assembly, and this would allow people to really connect with what's going on and be able to connect with what your MLA is doing and be able to take part in that discussion. I would also like to make sure that they're able to vote on certain issues. If it's unclear where the community stands, I would like to be able to give a non-binding vote so that people can go and give me a really good idea of where the community does stand on it and whether or not we have a strong majority in either direction. I would like it to be able to talk about what I'm doing and why I'm doing it and explain why I'm voting the way that I'm voting, so that you guys always at least have that explanation, if nothing else. And I've commented previously on the advisory committee, which would be the more personal side of that, and making sure that everybody gets a chance to share all their thoughts with me. And I think that's basically my time.
I believe that any MLA should think of the constituents first before the party. And that's what I'm going to do if you decide to elect me. I believe that the one and major job of an MLA is listening to you guys. It's incredibly sorry for that freeze. We need to work together. I love what Justin is suggesting. Sorry, it's yes, it should be about the constituents and not the party. Thank you. I've lost my place.
Good job, Samson. It's tough. It's tough up here, but good job. So, you know, for me, being an MLA, non-elected MLA for the last 4 years, it's about people. It's about working with people. And I campaigned on this last time, and I'm going to campaign on it this time. And I have been campaigning on it. This is the largest riding in our Kootenai area anyways, and also in the Shuswap area. We need to set up a way for people to communicate. And what I will do is two things. I campaigned on it last time, and I'm doing it again this, as I just mentioned. I will set up advisory boards in each one of these communities that will advise the MLA on current issues and hold my feet to the fire. One of the problems I had with the last MLA is there's no accountability to anything that was being done. I need to be accountable to you. So we need to set some goals and objectives outside of just the regular MLA business. And push that forward, movement forward, so that we actually can accomplish something together. And I think that's really important. I just want to reference very quickly, and I know this time's going to go by that fairly fast. My colleague over here who mentioned funding and big business funding. I just want to tell you for a fact that doesn't happen with the BC Liberals. We are the only ones. Just hang on, you laugh. You think it's funny, and that's fine. But as you laugh about that, we're the only ones that in real time, you can find out who donated to us, real time. Go on our website and you'll see there. John Horgan, his leader took $750,000 or close to $700,000, which is the largest donation in the history of British Columbia politics, from the United Steelworkers of America. So don't throw rocks when you live in a glass house, is what I'm going to say to that issue.
Thank you, Doug. The next question. The federal government intends to legalize marijuana by July 2018, yet it is allowing provincial governments control over how it is used and sold. How do you think BC should regulate the future sale and use of marijuana once it is legalized? We'll start off with Jerry Taft.
Thank you. So I think first and foremost, the provincial government needs to do meaningful consultations with communities and with municipalities. We know with most services, whether it's emergency services, policing, fire, all kinds of services, addiction services, most of these are community-based and they directly impact local governments and they directly impact all of you. And for the provincial government to announce some sort of framework or do something without consultation would be extremely unfair. So it's very necessary to do meaningful consultation and to get the input of people on what should happen. My hope is that there will be tax revenue which will help to fund local services, that we will be able to reinvest in our local communities, and that we will be able to find a way of dealing with and implementing legalized marijuana in a way that also enriches our communities and makes life better in British Columbia.
Okay, well, I also would like to see tax revenue, but I think that it's important that we look at what the goal of this is, which is to destroy the black market for it. And if we overtax it, we're not going to see that happen. So we do need to be careful to see that that becomes a thing, and we should be looking at jobs out of this. We should be looking at what we can do to make the most money out of the legalization of marijuana. As far as I'm concerned, that's the biggest benefit of this happening is we're going to be able to get some revenue. And the NDP, I guess, has vaguely suggested that they want to see it at the BC liquor store. And I don't support that. I would like to see it create a separate establishment and for the sake of creating more jobs and more jobs that we desperately need around here. There's a few other things that fall into provincial jurisdiction. There's a legal age. I think 19 would most likely be that age, but I know there's a bit of a talk for 25 for certain medical reasons. I would like to make sure that it's not present in public spaces, mainly those that are occupied by children, such as parks, any high traffic area, downtown areas, things like that. I'm not necessarily saying you gotta stop the guy on the sidewalk from smoking a joint, but if he's sitting in the middle of the park around children, then obviously we need to regulate that end of things. I think that's all I have to say right now.
Here's what I have an answer for, thankfully. For one thing, yes, there will be an incredible boom for tax revenue, of which should definitely go to public spending. But we also need to consider that it goes towards addiction treatment, as well as education on drugs. We need to support mom and pa businesses. Now, put up your hand here if you like craft beer. Yeah? Yeah, that's good. I think we should have the same with marijuana. We should have craft marijuana. Grown and made locally and produced by locals. As for getting off the black market, we shouldn't overtax it, of course. And I, of course, believe that everyone should have a voice in this matter. But it's going to be legal. I think that's a fight that's pretty much over. And now it's just a matter of the benefits that we can claim. Oh, and one quick fun fact. The CBD in marijuana is shown in many in many studies that it heals bones twice as fast and makes them even stronger than they were before. So definitely consider trying.
Thanks for that, Samson. Hope there's no RCMP in the audience today. Anyway, very important issue for the province of British Columbia, very important issue for my party. It's going to be legalized, it's a federal government jurisdiction, and they're going to do it. So instead of sitting back and waiting for something to happen, we have been very proactive on this front. The Premier has made it very, very clear that the #1 issue for us as a party is to make sure it's kept out of the hands of children. We have to protect our kids from this. It's going to happen, so we've got to be really sure of that. And we have to also make very, very sure, the second point is that it does not go into the criminal element. So gangs and guns, we've got a program associated with that. There's bad guys out there that are going to take advantage of it. So we got to make sure that it does indeed happen. I think Mr. Tass was reading from my playbook, because the Premier is already committed to setting up a panel of experts, quotes, to do this decision-making. The government shouldn't be involved in this. It should be people in British Columbia. So that has already been put in place. She's made it very clear of that. As far as any revenue from taxes go, because we will tax this, there's no question about it. She's made it very clear that the revenue from anything that is taxed for marijuana will go directly to supporting addictions and supporting those kinds of melodies. So we are very much aware of this, and again, I go back to saying to you, the number one priority for us as a government is to keep this away from kids. That's our priority.
I think I like going first better. It's almost nothing left to say. A couple of major concerns I have with this are things that are evolving in jurisdictions where marijuana has already been legalized. So whether we're looking at Colorado, Washington State, there are issues with things like driving under the influence. How do you test for THC? Okay. How long does THC stay in your system? Are you still under the influence if you used a marijuana product 2-3 days before? How did the person determine which is which? One of the things Colorado is experiencing, for anyone who's aware of the de facto case study that's taking place with legalization there, is increase in car accidents and deaths from it's been documented, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm in favor of legalization. I think for all the reasons that were mentioned, there's no point in stigmatizing it. There's no point in driving usage underground. There is a need for a consultative process. I don't know that it's necessarily needs to be focused on grassroots so much as the people in our society, these human resources I talked about before, who are best able to support us in determining what's going to be safest. So whether it's doctors, whether it's social workers, whether it's healthcare providers, whether it's people with WorkSafe and the WCB, because there are issues with this as well. If you're driving a forklift or driving a truck, there's lots to be worked out. And the federal government has set a very ambitious timeline, and the provinces need to be very aware of all the potential ripples as they move forward. One thing I would like to see is, in echoing Justin, but for a different reason, it shouldn't be sold in liquor stores. I think we're looking at two very, very different products here. One that's medicinal, as Samson pointed out, and has potential health benefits, and one that does not in terms of alcohol. And I think if people are dealing with addiction issues and trying to recover, it's not a good idea to have both in the same place.
The next question. Southern mountain caribou are listed as threatened under the Federal Species at Risk Act, and scientists have recommended their status be changed to endangered. What are your views on the management of mountain caribou? We'll start with Justin.
Okay, well, first of all, I do agree that they should be listed as endangered, and I think that would be a good first step. Obviously, we need to put some money aside for them, and I think right now our BC Liberals have already committed to that. I think $28 million, but I'm running off the top of my head here, looking at Doug.
That's ambitious, but we'll
I think it's what they said, actually. It's $28 million on your platform. But I obviously would support those efforts to do that, and amongst that, there's other issues and other animals who are having trouble, and a lot of our elk and other species are falling in the numbers of their population, and I would like to see that helped as well. And I think honestly the BC Liberals are a little bit off to a good start there, but I would really like to hear a lot more of a commitment on who's going to be involved in their all-group committee there. If it's going to be just hunters, there's a lot of concern around that, and certainly the parties have scrutinized that very heavily, that if this group is going to be strictly full of hunters or just one side of an issue and they're not involving everybody, then this group is not going to be effective and it's not going to make the right choices. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that goes, and I'm really hoping to see it go the right way. And I think that's all I have to say for that.
This is a very important topic, especially for the Green Party. At the moment, the Green Party is trying to enact the Endangered Species Act, which at the moment we have 15,000 species endangered but are not considered to be. So we need to make steps in this direction. We also need to increase funding across the board for wildlife. At the moment, we only have 2 conservation officers stretching all the way from Revelstoke down to Kimberley. That is unacceptable. We also have the lowest funding in supporting our wildlife throughout in BC. I'm a hunter myself. I understand, but I understand what hunters want. We want to ensure that wildlife remains abundant so we can continue to hunt it. But sorry, I'm a little nervous, sorry. We need to increase funding and especially increase research. As for the elk populations, what are they called? Mountain caribous. Thank you. I've heard, now I'll need to confirm this later, but we have caribou ranches where we take pregnant females, bring them into a safe enclosure, let them have their calves, and then release them back into the wild once they are proper age. We need to continue to support this to save and ensure the species does not go extinct. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. It's a big question, and it's a complicated question. Our government has committed a lot of money towards this already. And I see there's a biologist that I had a great opportunity to meet with yesterday in the audience tonight, and we had a good conversation about not only mountain caribou, but other ungulates. We are struggling. I think this wildlife management process, because taking care of caribou is about wildlife management. It's just not about taking care of caribou. I don't point a finger at my party. I don't point a finger at the NDP. I think this is an issue that has been around for the last 30 years. It goes back to the Socrats, certainly not their fault, but it's an issue that to me is important. I'm a hunter as well. But being a hunter, I'm also a conservationist by nature. So when we see the cow-calf populations, especially with elk, dropping throughout the East Kootenays, there's a serious issue here. And what we've done as a government is we have committed that we will establish, don't know what it looks like, don't know what it's going to talk like. British Columbians are going to decide on this, and to Justin's point, it's going to be inclusive of biologists, it's going to be inclusive of everybody. But like the Freshwater Fish Society, all tags, all those things, hunting, trapping, will go into this commission. That'll add about a $9 million bill, which is about another 50% more than now. But the BC Liberal government has also committed $5 million to get this thing started up. So we have an opportunity collectively throughout this region to take care of our wildlife, which includes caribou. And I thank you. I'm sorry I forgot your name, but thank you for your passion yesterday, because it's people like you that we need on that particular commission or committee or whatever you want to call it. So thank you for your insight yesterday. I appreciated that.
In terms of wildlife management, I think that the discussions that are already underway are productive. I think they're reactive, unfortunately, and I think at the end of the day, it's symptomatic of again, the overarching theme I'm here to talk about. We have a system that is bogged down in adversarial debate and in conduct that's more focused on detriment to the opposition than it is on productivity for the people. And you know, this is an important issue, but in the grander scheme of the umbrella I'm talking about, it's a microcosm for everything that for everything that we need to be looking at. We need to be looking at a system where the people come first, the province comes first. Okay? And if you think about any other aspect of society, any other collaborative enterprise that we undertake, nothing looks like this. Nothing works in this way in terms of its adversarial nature. We don't run our families this way. Mom doesn't dispute everything dad says and try to pick it apart. Dad doesn't counter with why it works that way and he thinks he's right. We don't do that on boards. It's not always this line or this line. It's people working together to come up with policy that's productive and in the best interest of everyone involved. And that's, again, why I'm sitting here. These things we're talking about don't ever need to get to the point that they're at. And it is sad. I'm not a hunter myself, but a lot of my friends are. I grew up, as I said, in this region. And it's disappointing. And it's symptomatic, as I said, of an overall disappointment that I have in a whole bunch of these issues even being issues.
So there's a lot of people that have put a lot of time and effort into some evidence-based plans, the mountain caribou recovery plans that are out there. There's a lot of information that needs to be implemented. Simply put, a wolf call in and of itself is not going to solve the problem. If there is not a serious effort to look at habitat,